Tony Cooper was born in Warner Robins, Georgia back in the 1950s. He's a multi-instrumentalist who has played with Doc Holliday, Larry G. Hudson, and the Toy Caldwell Band. Tony is an arranger, studio musician, a music educator, and the music director for Grace Fellowship Church in Warner Robins, Georgia. Welcome, Tony Cooper.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Well, we've been wanting to have you for quite a while, and we have narrowly fit you into the schedule that we can both live with. So, you were born in Warner Robins.
1956, my dad was in the Air Force.
And you went to Northside High, where you played bass clarinet, you played bass drum, you played timpanis.
I started on clarinet.
You started on clarinet?
I still have my clarinet, but don't tell nobody.
When is the last time that you have drug your clarinet out?
Too long, the pads are all dried out.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. But were you playing keyboards back then, or guitar?
I started dabbling probably when I was about 6th grade. We went down to see a friend of the family's that lived down in O'Galley, Florida, worked for NASA.
Yeah.
And they had an organ in the corner. They had the sheet music, the book to the sound of music.
Sure.
And so I learned how to do that. And once I did that, I could see all the basic triads.
Okay.
And it kind of stuck with me. The summer between 6th grade and 7th grade, I got my first guitar, which was an old Stella, which I still have.
Cool.
My brother traded a 3-speed bicycle for the guitar and $10. He kept the money. He tried to play guitar, but the only thing he could do was that intro to Dirty Water.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then say he gave it to me.
Yeah.
And God, I can't tell you how many hundreds of hours I spent on Mama's front porch just beating on that thing.
Yeah.
And my aunt from Millersville gave me her son's Silvertone single pickup with amp built in the case. It's like a Dan Electro.
Okay.
I still have it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Have you valued this stuff to see?
Treasure them like, it was gold.
Uh-huh.
Now I keep going back and buying these things I wish I'd never got rid of.
Yeah.
So my house is like a music gear warehouse.
Cool. Well, okay. Well,
not when you're married and have to go through an obstacle course to get anywhere in the house.
Yeah. So what was your first keyboard?
A Univox.
Oh, sure.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Not touch sensitive. I can't remember if it had a sustain pedal or not, but the piano was just square waves.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I played in a band in the 70s that had a Univox piano, so
yeah,
I'm aware of that.
Little bitty thing, yeah. But it was, I guess my first real piano that I had out in my garage was a Magnus chord organ.
Okay,
a brown,
yeah,
bakelite.
Yeah,
about 6 buttons over here.
Right, and
you played one note at a time. If you played 2, the sound would go down. After 3.
But you push some buttons that would play chords. Is that? Yeah. Okay.
Just basic primary chords.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything you could use on a gig, but I did start comprehending scales and theory on it.
And what were you listening to back in those days?
Probably my biggest one was Johnny Winters. That Johnny Winters and album. When I first started getting blues, a buddy of mine had a little garage band, and we ended up with a trio. So we were doing Grand Funk Railroads,
sure,
Eric Clapton and Cream,
yeah,
all that stuff, and really enjoyed the blues, and learned a lot from it.
Were you playing keyboards then, or
I was playing guitar then?
You were playing guitar then?
I just started really playing keyboards in the band until I was about 19 years old. I started playing with a band called Whitehall, which is Ronald Johnson and Tony Elmore, and back then it was Ricky Cox and Kenny Hardy, Rusty Jessup on the sax, bless his heart.
Yeah.
And we had a great band. Mike Thompson's soul band would come up and sing all the time. Him and Ricky would have song battles, soul songs on stage. That was my college education. But Ronald Johnson, the guitar player, had a Hammond C3 organ.
Oh, really?
And we had 2 guitar players, him and Tony Elmore. Well, Ronald was a metal fabricator, hanging steel, building big buildings.
Yeah.
And welder, and he's almost at a supervisory point, and he was working in Chattanooga. So they wanted me to play guitar Monday through Thursday, and he'd be back Friday and Saturday.
Uh-huh.
Well, once he quit going to Chattanooga, I'm just still over here on the organ, so I just stayed there. Played that for about 6 months, and I bought a B3.
Wow.
I think every 19-year-old ought to have a B3 organ.
Well, at 19, you can do the hauling.
Yeah, and I had a Wurlitzer piano, and
all right. Do you
ended
still
up
have
getting
the
out of it.
B3 or the Wurlitzer?
I wouldn't have another Wurlitzer. I beat them to guts out of them.
Okay.
But I ended up getting a Fender Rhodes.
Right.
And,
Still got it?
I have one, but it's not the same. Well, it's one I got from Otis Redding here that was not in great shape. But it's
Otis the third.
Yeah, a buddy of mine has it in his warehouse somewhere, and I'm going to go repo it one day.
Okay.
Because he's not doing anything with it.
Yeah. What was your first venture into success as far as music was concerned?
Probably. Well, I played with Whitehall for right out a year, and the 1st of January of 1976, I moved to Macon and started playing with Larry Hudson.
All right.
At Nashville South. We were on A&M Records, and R.J. Lindsay owned the club and on the record label. That's where we were at, the original Nashville South on Riverside.
Yeah. Nashville South was...
It was a mecca.
It was a mecca. I mean, it was unbelievable who came through and played there.
We had a big artist either every Thursday or every other Thursday.
Yeah.
And
it was like a stop for artists who were
from
going
Nashville to
Florida. So if they were playing in Florida on the weekend, they would play
Place for Gas, plays the band another day.
Yeah, I mean, people like George Jones and...
Dickie Betts was there for the George Jones show, and that's where I met Jimmy, Jack, and Donna Hall. They were sitting at a table back in the back a little bit.
Sure.
And but Dickie got, they had the dance floor, and everybody was just sitting down on the dance floor. Dickie was sitting about one person away from George, soaking it in, man. George Jones is the greatest country singer ever.
Yeah, yeah.
I got to play his club in Nashville.
Yeah.
Possum Holler before they tore it down. It's a parking lot.
I didn't even know he had a club in Nashville.
Possum Holler.
All right. So tell us about Larry G. Hudson. He had a few different record deals. I think he released an album on Mercury Records.
I think he had one album come out on Mercury.
Yeah.
He was putting singles out on A&M Records, which was RJ's label.
Yeah. And he eventually signed to Willie Nelson's record.
Lone Star Records. Well, we probably did about anywhere from 8 to 10 shows with Willie. And it was all our label mates.
Yeah.
A band called Cooter Brown that cut their record here.
Oh, sure. Paul Hornsby produced them.
They came out to Bananas and rehearsed for their recording on our gear.
Yeah.
And, we're just glad to know these guys. They were good, great guys.
Yeah. One of them still plays in Nashville with the Time Jumpers. When you were with Larry Hudson, you recorded here at Capricorn Studios with Willie Nelson.
The first sessions we did, we had already had the track just about cut. And I think we did 3 other songs. Sam Whiteside engineered, co-produced everything with us. But it was neat, man. We did 4 tracks here, and after he left for Atlanta, we went in and finished up that track. That ended up being one of the singles that we put out.
All right, I can't read it because I don't have my glasses on, but what is the name of the song?
Just Out of Reach of My Two Empty Arms.
Okay.
That's the old Pappy Stewart that Percy Sledge recorded. We got it off of Percy Sledge record.
Okay. So you were with Larry G. Hudson for quite a while.
About 3 years and 9 months.
Okay.
And the year I played before that, with Whitehall, I did about a 4 year and 9 month stretch of 6 nights a week, 5 45-minute sets with 15-minute breaks. And I was slap burnout.
Oh, yeah.
Went through a divorce.
Yeah.
But
that's the way it was back then. A place would book you for the whole week. You would play 6 nights.
Every now and then we would book out with Larry.
But after you played with Larry G. Hudson, like we said, he had an album on Mercury Records. You joined a rock band called Doc Holliday.
That was a little bit after that. I'd always been recording and playing with a buddy of mine, Goose, Michael Goodrich. And he had Durden Studios here in Macon that opened up pretty early. I helped him kind of do some work on that. But we did a lot of demos out there with him over the years.
Yeah.
We still record today, man. So we did an album on Brian Minshew about 7 or 8 years ago. It was just so much fun. And great musicians, great songs. And we're still doing some work for Backyard Records.
Okay.
That handled Michael is just a good guy, and we're doing songs with Barry Darnell's daughters and his daughter.
Sure.
So not records, but we're recording some stuff for him.
Yeah. But Doc Holliday had 3 albums on A&M
On
Records.
A&M. I think I got with him in like 84 or so.
Was that the first time you had met Bruce
Oh,
Brookshire?
God, no,
or
man,
you knew?
we
Because you still kind of work with Bruce Brookshire.
Yeah, he would charge us, I think, $15 a day to go practice in his practice room with my trio. Which you had to have someplace to go because the cops only came to my house one time for the noise, and it came from 5 blocks away.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, my bass player had a very loud voice.
Oh, gosh.
And everything was loud back then. Everything was tube for me.
Yeah.
So you had to crank it up. My first big amp was a 212 Bassman Supra.
Right.
And man, I wish I had that one back. That's a hard one to find.
Yeah.
I think it was an HT88 or something.
Yeah.
But God, I went through so many guitars. My sister died in January, and I would tell this every time I see her. She broke the neck on my 1963 Epiphone Crestwood at the nut.
Oh.
Then she broke, same place, the neck on my 68 Gibson SG.
Oh, my gosh.
And I kept telling her, I said, if I'd have killed you then, I'd been out of jail by now. I told that at a funeral. So.
Oh, gosh.
But I miss my sister. My brother died in January. So.
Well, I mean, we'll touch on this, but you've had a hellish few
the last
year.
Year has been really, really tough.
Yeah. But before we get to that, let's talk about you joining Toy Caldwell's band. How did that happen?
One of the best guys on the planet, Paul Hornsby.
Yeah.
Toy called Paul looking for a piano player. Well, we wanted Paul to go out. Paul didn't want to go. He's got his studio.
Yeah.
But he recommended me. And first gig we did was in Charleston. I mean, we were all in there cold, no rehearsal. We just get up and just go for it. And it got better after that, but we never rehearsed.
Really?
So the whole set we did was just, I'd get the records out and learn more of what but I was playing guitar when all these early Marshall Tucker records come out, so it ain't like I didn't know them all.
Yeah, exactly.
I just didn't know them on piano and all the organ parts and
right.
Paul.
And you could have asked Paul, how.
I could have, but I was so busy on the road, it just didn't have a lot of time for it.
Yeah.
God, man, we played everywhere from Bar Harbor, Maine to Andalusia, Alabama.
Yeah.
But we did a lot of touring up in New England.
I remember seeing, and I'm guessing you were with him when they played Flamin' Sally's here in Macon.
I did one time.
Yeah.
And I think Butch Trucks got up and played with us. One of the best things we got to do was open up for Dickie Betts, the Great Southern, at the center stage in Atlanta. And Dickie didn't even go to the motel room. He stayed with us all afternoon.
Oh, cool.
And he was sitting on the wings by me. Once we started, we got about 2 songs in, and he motioned his tech, bringing his guitar. He turned his Marshall on, he hit one note and blew his fuse on his amp. So Toy just took his guitar off and handed it to him while they changed his fuse out, and then they both jammed for a couple songs.
Yeah. But
Dickie was a good guy, man. I had some cool pictures of them together, and I gave them to him. Or gave them to his guitar tech.
Yeah.
So, but last Gabba Fest I did that he came to, same thing. He was on my side of the stage looking at me, and he said, "You mind if I get up?" I said, "Come on."
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna turn him down. I think him and Toy had a great relationship. Toy and Charlie Daniels had a great relationship.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, I think Charlie Daniels had a great relationship with everybody.
Oh, no doubt. But they were struggling. And Toy, they were touring some with Toy, but he had problems making payroll. And they sent Tommy in there, and Tommy pulled about $20,000 or $30,000 out of his boot and just handed it to him.
Wow.
Just gave it to him.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of generosity and a lot of mutual love between these guys.
Oh, absolutely.
And all those guys, grinder switch guys.
Right.
Drew Lombard, probably one of the best guitar players who ever walked the ground right here.
Yeah. Grinder switches right over my shoulder here.
Yeah. So. And Ricky Burnett was an engineer for a little while.
Yeah.
And he and I went to work with him after he got the job.
I put a note. You have great ears. I've seen you working in the studio downstairs and maybe not great ears for hearing all frequencies and stuff, but great ears for hearing musicality.
Yeah.
And picking out chords and melodies and all
Man,
that stuff. You got it.
I've been doing arrangements my whole life.
Yeah.
And I mean, just about every. I get to do a lot of shows, and I'll chart every song out for every show, put it on my iPad, and just go foot squishy, turn the page.
Yeah.
I got to do that show with Scott Sherrard at the Capitol Theater, and it was on Eric Clapton's birthday, so we did the entire Layla album, start and finish.
Yeah.
And that was so much fun.
Right.
And it's good guys playing with him too. And he's with Little Feat now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Tearing it up.
But before we started taping, you mentioned that you were brought up on country music, but I know that you're a Chicago fan.
Yeah.
When I first ran into you after I moved back to Macon, was at a Gino Vanelli concert up in Atlanta.
Yeah. I have all of his recordings.
Yeah.
But I got turned on to him. I was working for this electronics repair place in Warner Robins. Richard Hamilton, give him a shout out. He did me a lot of good working with him. Learned a lot. But he was doing lights and sound for the Warner Robins Little Theater.
Yeah.
And another shout out to my buddy Dolan Suggs, who played piano for the Little Theater. And we went to a party one night, and they pulled out Storm and Sun Up, Powerful People. The first song I heard was Storm and Sun Up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just...
well, and it's mostly keyboard-oriented
back
music.
then it was. They had Jay Graydon play guitar on it.
Okay, there you go.
So Jay Graydon is my other...
Yeah.
I got a trivia question.
Okay.
Who played piano on Peg?
Oh, gosh. I've seen the recreation they do for the making of the album, and...
I'll give you a hint. He produced the first Christopher Cross record. Notorious for doing Christian music now.
Yeah. Michael Mardian?
Michael Mardian. I had to watch this video on him, and he was talking about some of the licks he had to do while Steve Gadd was soloing.
Yeah.
He said he didn't have a freaking clue what he was doing. He just sit there and go back and forth.
All right, we're going to touch on Toy Caldwell just a little bit more. When you were with Toy, you actually made an appearance on Nashville Now.
Yes.
I think it was TNN was the network back then.
I think it was the Ralph Emery Nashville Now.
Yeah.
And we got to do This Old Cowboy, and at the end we went out with Can't You See.
Yeah.
And Fred Dillon ended up playing all the guitar at the end of the show. Toy just kept saying, keep playing. He was wearing it out.
Yeah. And he calls your name out.
I was at the NAMM show in Nashville, and just walking down La 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 overalls, incognito.
Yeah.
And he was walking the other way. He said, I know you. You played with Toy Caldwell. I said, I know you. You're Fred Newell.
Yeah.
And we sat there talking about 5 minutes about Toy.
All right. So if you want to see Tony's appearance on Nashville Now,
they're on YouTube.
Click here. I think it's click here, and I'll have a link for that. All right. So we touched on it. You've lost your brother and your sister in the last year, and you've had medical issues yourself.
Yeah.
You've lost 100 pounds since I've last seen you, and you shaved your mustache. You shouldn't have done that, but but I mean, how are you getting through all this?
I'm doing good. You gotta have faith.
Yeah.
And this is not just I believe in God faith. This is just faith in everybody that you're around.
Yeah.
And fortunately for me, I still have a pretty healthy relationship with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Put it mildly, but I've been playing at the Grace Fellowship Church in Bruce Brookshire for 17 years, and it's not like fire and brimstone. It's like, let's go have a great Bible lesson and let me interpret this the way I've learned it at college.
And this is Bruce Brookshire, who formed Doc Holliday.
Doc Holliday.
Back in the 70s. We all love Bruce.
We love Sheila too.
And we love you too, man. And I appreciate you doing this. You're one of our more valued members of Comp, and we love seeing you at the lunches when you can make it. Well, thanks again, man.
Thank you for having me.
And
we didn't break nothing.
Like I said, I love you, man.
Love you too.
All right.
Love all you guys. Thank you for watching.